So I started a new job recently, and my new boss, his name's Chris, and it's been interesting because he's very different from me. He's like, how do I describe him, dude? It's kind of hard to describe him. He's like 5'8". He's like a little short guy. Sorry, Leith. And he's like bearded. He's like bald.
You unironically called 5'8" a little short guy. Like that's not really.
Okay, like 5'6". I don't know. He feels short.
Okay,
I don't know
fair.
how tall he is, but he feels short. But he
feels short.
he's really intense. He's really energetic. He yells everything, and he's kind of like jittery. I don't really know. Like, you know what I mean? Like he kind of just like is like jittering the whole time. He's really quick to anger. He'll like get mad really quickly. Like as soon as he can't find his drill, he's just fucking screaming.
Oh yeah.
He's a really nice guy. Like I really like him. He's really energetic and like it's really fun to work with him. But he starts yelling. I've only seen him get mad at someone once, and it was today. And they were just taking so long to do something, so he started like getting mad. And he's not really getting mad. He's kind of getting mad at them, but he's more just getting mad like around them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's not yelling at them. Anyway. I'll admit I'm very bad with yelling. I feel like my parents only yelled at me maybe like a couple times when I was a kid. Maybe my dad yelled at me like a couple times, and I never had like a teacher yell at me or anything. So I'm just not good with yelling. When someone starts yelling, I get really stressed out. I just get a bunch of anxiety, and I like because I just assume they're yelling at me, or even if they're yelling around me, right? I just don't like being in like an atmosphere where someone's yelling. So it's been hard to like kind of get used to like being around him, but. We were talking the other day, and he was just like, "Yeah, it was like on the weekend I was playing Hades," and I was like, "Whoa!" Like, and like the three of us, like me and my two coworkers, were like, "Whoa, what?"
He's the gamer.
Yeah, because Hades is like, do you know what Hades is?
Yeah,
have you heard? Yeah, it's a pretty like well known. It was like Game of the Year contender, but it's like a hardcore like roguelike RPG, right? You gotta be fucking kidding me, man. You're if you don't realize it, your bubbles go down twice as fast, which is ridiculous.
Like on this level?
Yeah, on this level. You go down twice. So I was in the water for how long there? Like not that long, and it's dead. And now I've got to restart. Anyway, so he's like Hades, blah, blah, blah. And then, we kind of start talking, and then he's like, and he starts talking about World of Warcraft. Mm-hmm. And it's like, again, this is like hardcore construction guy. But he's talking about and he's going in depth talking about World of Warcraft. Like he knows his shit. I've got no idea what he's talking about.
Yeah, no.
So anyway, we keep talking, and then he goes, "Have you guys ever played Among Us?" Okay.
So awesome.
Okay, no, that's a joke. He did not say that.
Although
that would have been awesome. But then he goes, yeah, I'm more of a Nintendo guy. I don't like Xbox or PlayStation.
Ooh.
And I'm like again, what? Like this guy, if you told me he played video games, I'd be like, okay, he plays Call of Duty and 2K. And that's it.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's this guy. Maybe he plays FIFA, right? Like that's this kind of guy. But no, he's played Hades, and he knows all this stuff. Like and he's talking about like he's like, oh yeah, I'm a Nintendo guy. He's like, just the other day I got Golf Story, and I'm like, oh, and then I'm kind of shocked. I'm like, what? Like this guy has played Golf Story. Like literally, what the you gotta be kidding me? Like really, this guy's played Golf Story. If you don't know what Golf Story is, it's this little like pixel game RPG where you play golf. Like it's not, it's
not COD.
Yeah, it's not Call of Duty. Yeah, and then he's like, oh, but if you and I talk about it, I'm like, oh yeah, I played Golf Story like a couple of years ago. He's like, yeah, it's really good. And then he goes, but if you want to talk about video games, and I'm like, okay, you got to bring up like Zelda or something. You got to talk about Celeste. And I'm like, what?
No.
The 2D platformer that's about depression. That's this guy's favorite game. That's the game this guy loves. What? And he starts going off, and he's like, oh yeah, just the other day I was listening to the Celeste soundtrack on my way to work. And I'm like,
Oh
no!
my
Like,
God.
I'm like, you gotta be kidding. He's trolling. He's literally trolling.
He knows everything about you, and he's like just trying to be relatable. Bro.
Yeah,
he's
but
like, this Salvy guy, he loves he
I
listens to video game music.
I brought up the soundtrack.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, the soundtrack's really good. He's like, yeah, I love the sound. I listened to it on my way to work. My wife got in the car, and she's like, is this Celeste? I'm like, yeah.
So the wife's a gamer too?
I think she probably lives with him.
Yeah, fair enough. But
Fair enough. Then he started talking to me again, and he's like, "Oh, I just got this new game. It's been really good, Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I played that a couple of years ago, and I got it for Christmas in 2017." He's like, "Yeah, it's really good." And then he said the last thing I would ever expect to come out of this guy's mouth. He said, "Me and Rabbid Mario go crazy together." And I'm literally trying not to laugh because he looked so ridiculous. This guy talking about Rabbid Mario, that's the last words I would ever expect to come out of this hardcore yelling angry construction worker's mouth would be Rabbid Mario.
I mean, he is a Rabid Mario. He's just out there yelling and shit.
Yeah, and it's wild. I can't believe that he said.
Did he actually say?
He said
crazy together.
Yeah, he said me and Rabbid Mario. It was like me and Rabbid Mario are so we're really good together. I love that little guy. He said something like that, and I'm like, yeah, he's got the shotgun and stuff. And he's like, yeah, and then we started talking about it. And he's like, oh yeah, but Rabbid Luigi with his vampirize ability, he's really good too. And I'm like, oh yeah, I love Luigi because he's a sniper and stuff. It was so surreal, dude. It was so weird. And it just made me kind of it made me obviously like him more because obviously he likes stuff I like, which is
of course
great. But on top of that, anytime this guy starts yelling and swearing so loud because he can't find his pencil to make a mark on the fence, I just think that guy has beaten Golf Story. And then it kind of chills me out.
Do you think he raged at it?
I maybe, but it just calms me down a little bit. I'm like, he's a normal guy. He likes the things I like. He's yelling and angry right now, but so it calms me a little bit just to remember that. So it made him kind of more human, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's fair.
So yeah, I'm really glad that happened and stuff. And it's so weird, man. I can't believe I was talking about none of my gamer friends have played Mario and Rabbids or Golf Story or Celeste. Right, and yet...
It's true, I've played none of them.
Yeah, and yet this guy is going in depth about all of them with me. It's so wild. So, yeah. You just get to know someone and they're completely different than you expect them to be. Up until that point, I'd heard him listening to music. He was listening to heavy metal music. I found out he was in a metal band.
Ooh.
That guy's a Nintendo guy. It's just crazy, how you don't know someone, you just kind of expect them to be a stereotype of whatever they are.
Yeah.
And then you learn more about them, and you're just like, wow, you're completely different than I expected you to be. It's just
that's really cool.
Thank you all for watching. I hope you learned a little bit. Don't judge people. Don't judge a book by its cover, even if everything is looking like, I worked with that guy for 3 days and he was exact stereotype of a hardcore construction worker who listens to death metal and all that kind of stuff. And then his favorite game is Celeste, the game about beating depression and conquering a mountain. So that's just wild. Look at that, a Salvy and Quinn episode with a lesson at the end.
Yeah, see, we're educational. You can let your kids watch us.
We're educational. I gotta do kid friendly on this video now.
No more comments.
I bet I click kid friendly and then it's just 40,000 views or something.
But 0 likes, 0 comments, 0 subs because it's all disabled.
That's wild. There's literally videos with 1 billion views on YouTube and they have 40 likes.
Yeah.
And it's just because it's
kids.
It's a kids content video. That's us one day. That's gonna be that.
That's
1 billion views and yet 87 dislikes and 3 likes.
And then when kids will be growing up and then they'll be reminiscing about the good old days. They'll be like, remember when we used to watch Among Us videos?
But they don't have the mindset to remember the names. They'll just kind of
I think Among Us will stand out far and beyond the rest.
Oh, can you imagine if you had a son or something and they were Among Us?
I think that's probably every parent.
I guess that's what our parents were like.
No, like every parent who has a child who's in elementary school is going through that right now.
Yeah.
Except just Among Us instead of Among Us.
I actually meant to say
Yeah,
Among Us.
yeah.
I said Among Us and I was wrong with it. Thank you all for watching. I'm Blake Davidson. Goodbye.